Hello, ladies, and welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. It is Coaching Q&A week where I bring a woman from our tribe live to ask a question. And today, I'm with the beautiful Christine Guenette, who it's so fun to have you here, Christine, because I know you watch and support every Wake Up Wednesday. And like you said before we started filming, you've seen many of these, so it's cool to have you on the show. And also, just honor all the work that we've done together. Ladies, Christine has been in Mentor Masterclass, is currently working with me in the Sisterhood Mastermind, and I've watched her business grow and bloom so beautifully over the last year. And I know her question that she's asking in exchange to pass on to her clients will also resonate with a lot of you, my clients. So, Christine, let me officially introduce you, and then we'll get right into your question. So Christine Guenette is a life coach and yoga teacher in Montreal. Her signature program is called Chakra Needs, and it's Chakra Needs are her magic formula for making decisions with ease and confidence. She helps her clients make choices to design and live the life they most deeply desire. And aren't choices something that stall us and that we struggle with all the time? So speaking of which, your question is actually about a choice. So let me pass it over to you. What are you bringing us today, Christine?
Yeah, so my question was actually related to making a choice around what type of coaching training someone can do. So I have a lot of clients that are yoga teachers, and they're looking to expand their capacity to assist their clients and their students. And I've had them ask me whether they should do a health coach training program or a life coach training program. So I wanted to ask you how I can help guide them to make the best decision that's right for them.
Yes, I love this question, and I'm so happy that we're bringing it to the show to talk about in sisterhood, because so many women that I meet at this moment of decision about becoming more of service or launching their business also are quite confused whether or not they should choose life coach training or health coach training. So I've had to also help many women navigate this over the years. So I think the first thing that I always recognize is that if someone is torn about which one to choose, life coach training or health coach training, it means that there's a little bit of interpersonal confusion and conflict about how they can be of greatest service, but more importantly, what do I really want? What do I really want to do and teach? Because that, though the training is not going to answer that question for you, we feel like that choice is going to be determined by which one we choose. Like we're going to get what we want from either the health coach training or the life coach training. So if we're thinking about life coach training, the reason I address this from that point is that as life coaches, we're really trained to help someone figure out and define what they want and then what's preventing them from getting it. Now, health coach training is quite a different scenario. You might come in at a different entry point and you're trained to handle your client in a different way. So, the first thing to recognize is to take this personally and walk your talk. And if you're confused with whether you should do health coach training or life coach training, the real problem is actually an inward problem of defining what you want and how you desire to be of greatest service. So then, Christine, if you're in the support role for someone, and I'm going to take on that role right now for the woman watching this that has this same question, that's really what we want to help get into. That's what we want to sort out. What do they really want, and how can they be of greatest service? So the first place that I would start is with their story, their personal story and their journey. And there is a defining difference between life coach training and health coach training, and how you would position yourself as a coach and what you will teach. And normally the first place that we pull from is our own story, our passion, our natural expertise. So I know many of your women are yoga teachers, so obviously they have a relationship to body and health. So I see why it's an even bigger conflict of, should I do health coach training? But then on the flip side, they're bringing lots of huge concepts to the mat that go way beyond body or what you're eating. So I can see why they would also be drawn to life coach training. So here's the thing that I would navigate to help them figure out, and you ladies who are watching, figure out what you want. Is your story one of deeper education around health? Meaning, do you have a relationship to actual things that you needed to learn about food, about the body system, about, the technicalities of getting into better health in order to better your life? Meaning, learning the strategies and the systems and the structures. And if you are really drawn to if that's part of your personal story and your journey in some way in that specific way, and you're also drawn to speak on those terms, like you love talking about the benefits of kale and the vitamins that are within it, and you love talking about how your body processes kale and why you should eat it and why it's important, that is something to really notice about your personal journey, about your passion, about your interest, about your love and way of speaking. On the flip side, maybe your story, maybe it has to do with health, but it's actually more about the mindset shift and the tools that you use to hold yourself accountable to making that happen. The habitat shifting that you do in your outside world and the shifting that you do in your inner world. That is a different story, a different set of passion and interest and ability. So what I'm speaking to is also the difference in health coach training and life coach training and what you might want to tune into, because in health coach training, you don't get the intricacies of life coach training, meaning you're not going to go deep into those mindset shifts, those accountability shifts, taking action, shifting your habitat. You're going to spend the majority of your time really researching and learning about the intricacies of food and the body. On the flip side, in life coach training, you'll get a little bit of health coach training, as you will in health coach training get a little bit of life coach training in most programs, but you're going to go less into the science of the body and food and more into the mindset shifts and things that it will take to take action and to really integrate the things that you're learning about food. And so that's important to know, because I'm at a position where I run a life coach training program. I would say 55 to 60% of my women come to life coach training after having health coach training, because they start doing the health coach training and two things happen. One, they're just tired of talking about kale and food and like what to eat, and it gets so boring after they kind of recognize they're saying the same things with every client. Or they find that their clients are not taking action. They're teaching them all these great things about food and the body, but they don't know how to get in there and help their client really shift and utilize what they're doing. So they want deeper life coach training. On the flip side, I find women who take about 10% of the women who take my life coach training program who discover that they want to talk more about health end up going into health coach training because they want to talk more and know more about the science behind it, and that is interesting to them. But if you'll notice, now I'm in an interesting position. I teach a life coach training program, so this frame might be skewed a little bit. But I do find that more women seem to be drawn to add on life coach training after health coach training than life coach training that decide they also need health coach training. Does that make sense, Christine?
Yeah, it does.
So, but then I do have these friends who are really science-driven and geek out about hormones and and they don't ever need life coach training, don't benefit from that because they know that they want to talk about the intricacies of food and the body, and you're not going to learn those kind of things in a health coach training program, and they are never bored of them, and they are finding their niche within the health coach industry, which kind of takes me to my third place. I think that sometimes there is a fear that happens about choosing a niche, right? It's like, if I do health coach training, in some ways it's easier because I'm handed a niche. I'm working with health coaching clients. On the flip side, it's a flooded market. There are tons of health coaches, so you still have to define yourself as to what you do within the health coaching industry. And for some women, they already know that, especially yoga teachers. They know the area of where they want to work in health and body. And then on the flip side, some women are scared of life coach training because it's a little bit broader. It's life coach training, but there are many different niches you can choose within. Sometimes that's scary, and we avoid that because we're not quite clear about what we want to do or what we would choose. But on the flip side, it also gives more creativity and more room for self-expression. So I would say kind of first look at your story and define what was really true and deciding in your path of transformation. Usually that's what leads us to want to become a coach. And look at, is it more into the nitty-gritty of the health, and you feel like you could talk about that for lifetimes? Or is it more nitty-gritty into the shifts and the changes, the inner world and the outer world, which is more like life coach training? And then move that into really thinking about, do you, as a health coach, have the tools and techniques to get your clients to take action? And are you comfortable with saying, for the next 5 years, I'm going to be talking about just body and food, and you won't have a ton of other resources, but you love that? Or on the flip side, might it be smarter for you to start with life coach training because you have a lot of knowledge or can find access to food information and body information that you don't need an intricate training on it, but you want to better understand and talk about the other causes of those issues in health or life. So, Christine, that's kind of where I would start with your clients. I would first help them define that this is not about the training and it's about them, and really looking inward into what is their story and what do they want and how can they be of greatest service. So, what are your thoughts about that? Biggest takeaways? Any follow-up questions?
I love that it's actually really about them. It's not about the programs at all. It's really about the individual and what our own personal stories are. And I know from my own experience, I actually came into Mentor Masterclass expecting that I would become a health coach. And I had chosen that program over a health coach program because of how complete I felt it was. And along my journey, realized that at the end of the day, I didn't want to talk about kale every day all the time. I didn't want to try and the motivational techniques I was learning to get people to take action, I didn't want to get them to take action to do my diet program. I just recognized that wasn't for me. And so there's been a shift. So I can see what you're saying about it starts with what our own story is, and then from there we can more appropriately choose which direction we want to go with training.
Beautiful. I'm excited to see how this goes for you in helping your clients with more ease. And ladies, I know many of you have this question. You're in the moment of decision around, should I take a life coach training program or a health coach training program? So if there's something we didn't discuss or an intricacy or still something that's confusing, put it in the comments below, and Christine and I will both be sure to be available around this and support you if we have any insight and way to offer support for you. And if you have a question that you're dying to ask on Wake Up Wednesday, please do send it in. We would love to feature you on the show. Thank you, Christine, for finally being here with us live.
Thank you for having me.
This was so much fun. We'll see you next week, ladies. Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to become a confident and masterful life coach? Imagine feeling completely supported by a brilliant sisterhood while you launch your dream business and attain financial freedom. Mentor Masterclass is an all-in life coach training program for 40 women who are on a mission to learn from the best. You can join Mentor Masterclass at the beginning of any new month while spaces are available. Head on over to mentormasterclass.com to learn more about the training and apply now.